Of the SACCI Convention, I caught up with the president of the South African Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Clive Manci, for his view on improving South Africa's investment profile. Seeing the World Bank report shows that South Africa is moving down the rankings on the ease of doing business survey, I asked him what could be done to move in a positive direction.
Look, SACCI has taken a decision that it wants to be part of the solution in South Africa, if not champion the cause of fixing the challenges that we have in South Africa. And one of those, as you rightfully state, is that of the cost of doing business, reducing the cost of doing business, as well as ways that will ensure that we find means to making doing business much easier. So that is, create a conducive environment for people to create businesses, to grow businesses. And that work, which in this year, we started an initiative with the Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, entered into an MOU with them, with the purposes of saying, how does the chambers of commerce throughout the country work with local municipalities to deal with some of the government-administered processes that make it difficult or that hinder business. And so that's one structured mechanism we seek to use to engage with government. And that looks at legislative bureaucracy. It also looks at the cost side of things, and there I'm talking about property rates, I'm talking about electricity tariffs, and things like that.
Clive, how do we address South Africa's declining labor productivity?
Look, if people are out of work, certainly the consequence is that it will have a negative impact on our production. So without a doubt, it is happening. But let's look back at why people are out of work. People are out of work with the demands and the salary increases that they have communicated through the industrial action. I think the biggest problem we have with the industrial action we're seeing in South Africa, and this is a big problem for us as the South African Chambers of Commerce. One, it's the violent nature of this industrial action, which is something that we believe is untenable. It is the negative sentiment that we get to hear when people are embarking on this industrial action, sentiment about shutting down the economy and things like that. We don't think that those are productive, or we don't think that they aid the process of finding an employer-employee relations that are good for both businesses to grow as well as the well-being of employees. Our view is that we need to find space around the table and negotiate to find these solutions. We don't believe that, for instance, the legislative framework that we have to resolve disputes are being fully exploited, in that we instead elect to engage in these practices that I mentioned earlier, which certainly did not help. And that's what calls for leadership. Leadership is exactly about that. Leadership is about us sitting around the table and negotiating until we find a solution, and that's what we advocate for.
We've seen two big statements this week coming from BMW as well as Vodacom, although coming from completely separate incidents, but indicating that South Africa's attractiveness as an investment destination is absolutely declining for their business. How should we be taking this on?
The message by Vodacom is that in spite of the challenges that you see in the Eurozone, for an example, the business confidence in those markets is improving with the challenges that you have there. And so what does that tell you? It tells you that there is space, even for us, with the difficult challenges that we have, to look at the positive side of things. What is it that we can do? Because without a doubt, South Africa has significant potential, particularly when you take that in the context of the opportunities in Africa. And so it's that which we choose to focus on. And so the message around ensuring that we build a Team South Africa, which is about a positive sentiment, and this is not just feel-good type of thing. It's the one which says, let's engage in resolving issues.
Clive, perhaps South Africa's biggest socio-economic challenge is the creation of jobs, or the inability to create jobs. What is constraining business from achieving this fundamental target?
Well, firstly, we want the message to be business creation, business growth, business creation, business growth, as against job creation, because the result of business creation and business growth are jobs. So the important thing to focus on is exactly that. How do